Hello, my name is Jessica Gray, and today I will be presenting my seminar project for my seminar project class with Dr. Miller. My seminar project is on the link between untreated mental illnesses and criminal offenses. This presentation will briefly discuss how untreated mental illnesses can lead to criminal offenses. For my seminar project, I focused on the relationship between untreated mental health conditions and criminal offending. I wanted to look beyond the general conversation and ask a more specific question, which leads to my guiding question, which is why can untreated mental health conditions increase the likelihood of criminal offending? I want to make the point that I'm not arguing that mental illnesses cause crime because that would not be accurate. A lot of times, a lot of people do have mental illnesses. It's actually very common. Um, and they never commit a violent offense or an offense at all. My thesis is more focused than that. For my thesis, I argue that when certain mental conditions go untreated, especially when they are combined with instability such as unemployment, substance abuse, or lack of support, the risk of justice system involvement increases. Um, that increase happens both through psychological and structural factors. At the same time, accountability and public safety must remain central to the discussion. I found these charts online, and this is basically statistics and data on the correlation between mental illnesses and the criminal justice system. So this says people with mental illnesses deserve help, not handcuffs. So basically, this is taking the perspective that when someone has a mental health and they are put in the criminal offense system, they most of the time need help, not handcuffs. Key findings. So, what I found is that throughout this research is that untreated symptoms can affect impulse control. And what that means is if someone has a history of mental health and it does not go treated or is managed by medication, it can actually alter their mental statuses, impulse control, and decision making. Um, Conditions such as severe depression, bipolar disorder, trauma-related disorders, and substance use disorders can influence how someone reacts in stressful situations. This does not remove responsibility, especially when a victim is involved. Um, but it does help explain why this person made the decision and what led up to it. Structural instability increases contact with the justice system. So when someone is arrested and labeled, employment opportunities often decrease, housing becomes harder to secure, social trust weakens, and that's the instability creates pressure, which can increase the likelihood of returning to the system. Basically, they are more likely to offend again. Incarceration can actually worsen mental health conditions because you are isolated, you're taking away from everything you've known, and you are not treated for the illness that you have. Research shows that isolation, stress, and inconsistent treatment can intensify existing conditions. When individuals are released without proper follow-up care, the same untreated symptoms remain. In some cases, they become even more severe also. I noticed that institutional gaps matter. Most of the time, law enforcement are the first ones to respond to a mental health crisis or what doesn't seem to be a mental health crisis, but turns out to being one. And a lot of times, without proper training, they escalate the situation instead of bringing it down to the person's level and having the proper training. So I believe that accountability and treatment must go hand in hand, and mental illness should not automatically excuse criminal behavior. But courts must carefully distinguish contributing factors and full mental health incapacity. So I think that structured treatment programs can strengthen accountability rather than weaken it. Interdisciplinary insight. So this project required me to integrate criminology and psychology. Psychology helped me understand how untreated symptoms affect cognition, emotional regulation, and behavior. It focuses on internal processes that can increase risk when conditions are unmanaged. Criminology helped me understand how the systems respond to these mental health disorders. It highlights labeling, inequality, enforcement practices, and institutional design. Explains how justice involvement can reinforce instability rather than resolve it. When these disciplines are combined, the issue becomes clear. Untreated symptoms can increase risk. Structural conditions determine how that risk plays out. If systems respond only with punishment and ignore underlying instability, which would be the mental health disorders, the cycle often continues and people reoffend. And this is just a constant toxic cycle that continues to keep going. So, looking at only one discipline would not provide a full understanding. Application. So how does this apply? The this could be mitigated by early mental health screening in jails, and courts can help identify individuals who need assessment and support. Mental health courts can provide structured supervision while requiring treatment compliance. Law enforcement training that focuses on crisis recognition, which is very important, and collaboration with mental health professionals can reduce unnecessary escalation. Reentry planning that ensures continuity of care can reduce repeat offenses. On a personal level, this project has influenced how I think about my future in law. I no longer see accountability